In this video, I'm going to explain to you how to start sports card investing and what types of cards to buy, because it's a super common question I get and I want to help you guys out as much as possible, okay? So for starters, buying higher end cards is a bad idea. When I say higher end cards, I'm talking about cards that are $500 and up. And this is for a couple reasons. One, when you're dealing with people that are buying cards for $500, $1,000, $2,000, you're dealing with experts, right? And experts have more knowledge than you, and there's sometimes gonna be able to get one over on you, right? If you're getting into an industry, let's start with beginners and an easier way to make money, right? No one's gonna give you any meat on the bone, or it's very hard to find cards, underpriced, or cards to get graded and sold for $500, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. And once you become an expert and you get good at it, yeah, you could buy higher end cards because you have a better idea of what you're doing. But in the beginning, do not buy higher end cards. It's harder to make money, it's higher risk, and you're dealing with people that just know more than you. Because the best way to start making money with sports cards when you're first starting out is simple. You buy a card, you get it graded at PSA, it grades a 10, you'll usually be able to about triple your money. So in order to do that, you need to find cards that are in good condition. I have a bunch of other videos that talk about that, but finding cards that are in good condition, one, there's just less cards that are $500, $1,000, $2,000 because there's a reason they're more expensive, they're more rare. And the people that are buying and selling these cards know how to get cards graded and know not to leave any meat on the bone. So you're just dealing with people that are just no more. And to give you a story of how important this is, because the first transaction you make in any business is really gonna leave a good or a bad taste in your mouth. For example, when I first got into sports cards, I saved up $4,000 from delivering pizza at AJ's Pizza in Butler, New Jersey. And I found out about sports card through a friend of a friend. He showed me how to buy a card, get it graded, get it sold, and I don't recommend doing this, but I bought a sports card of Steven Matz. He was a rookie pitcher, or a prospect for the New York Mets. He was supposed to be this great pitcher. He didn't end up amounting to much, but I bought his orange Bowman Chrome for $500, okay? I don't recommend buying a card that expensive, but it's just what I did back in the day. And I got it graded by Beckett. It sold, I got a 9.5, and I sold it for $888 on eBay. Now, why am I telling you this story? Because that was my first experience, and I'm really emotional at that point, right? I'm a little bit skeptical of sports cards. Can I actually make money? Is this thing gonna actually work for me? And let's say that card didn't grade for me and I ended up losing $100 on it instead of making a few hundred. Well, maybe that would have changed the whole course of my life, right? Because I would have said, you know what, screw this, it doesn't work. So getting those small wins in the beginning and getting the process down is super, super important, because your confidence is shaky, right? Especially, like, I could speak for myself. When I got into sports cards, I told my friends, I told my family, and what did they all say, right? When I told my mom I was gonna dump the $4,000 I saved from delivering pizza into sports cards, she wasn't jumping on the kitchen table, like clapping for me, like, woo, yes, Eric, let's do that, right? She was telling me, no, don't waste your money, invest in the S&P 500. So everyone around you is usually pressing against what you want to do. So getting those small wins in the beginning to get belief in yourself and to shut up the naysayers is just really important, okay? So that's what I tell all my students. It's not about making the money, it's about getting the process right, getting those small wins in the beginning, and then building up. So that's why you don't buy higher end cards, you don't take big risk in the beginning. Now, for lower end cards, when I say lower end cards, I'm talking about cards that are $60, $80, $100, $150. That's where I recommend buying cards, getting them graded, and getting them sold. And this is for a bunch of different reasons. One, they're easier to find, right? You go on eBay, there's just more lower end cards because they're lower end, they're less rare, there's just more of them, right? So that's number one. Number two is you're gonna find a higher percent of them in better condition. Let me explain. So let's say you took 100 cards that are worth $1,000 each. 100 cards. And let's say you took 100 cards that are $100 each. So you have two different samples. In the sports card world, there's gonna be a higher percent of cards that are gonna be in good condition for the $100 example rather than the $1,000 example. Because with people buying $1,000 cards, like I mentioned before, you're getting sharks, right? You're getting people that are getting these cards graded and sold and flipping them, okay? So you're just gonna have less of them in good condition. So you're in an easier playing field buying lower end cards. They're easier to find and there's just more of them in good condition. And also they're lower risk, right? Let me walk you through an example. So let's say you buy a $100 card of Kenny Pickett. I don't know, just a random example. if the card grades a 9, after grading fees, maybe fees on eBay, you'll probably break even, maybe lose $10, $20, maybe make $10, $20 in that range, right? That's kind of your risk. It's like 10, 20%, but it's like 10 bucks, 20 bucks. But a $1,000 card, it swings a lot. So you could buy a $1,000 card, and I'm speaking from personal experience, it could grade a 9, or maybe a player gets injured or something crazy happens, and you sell for 700, 800, you're gonna lose a few $100s, right? That's a lot of money in the beginning stages of starting a business. So your risk is lower. Also, with lower end cards, you get a higher % return. Let me explain. So let's say you buy a $100 card. If you buy a $100 card and it grades a 10, you can usually expect to triple your money, roughly. So $100, probably gonna sell for $300, it's a PSA 10. However, buying a $1,000 card, not gonna happen. If it grades a 10, you're probably gonna sell it for about $2,200 to $2,500. You're usually not gonna be able to triple your money. Why? Think about this, right? I think about this stuff way too much. I've done way too much research on this stuff, as you probably can tell. But picture this, for example. Let's say you buy a $1,000 card of Kenny Pickett versus a $100 card of Kenny Pickett. Well, the $100 card of Kenny Pickett, let's say it grades a 10, you go and sell it on eBay, right? You go auction it on eBay. Well, the average collector can afford a card for a few $100s. So it creates a bidding war. More people bidding against each other means the price gets driven up, and you're gonna be able to sell for $300, $400 a lot of the time just because there's more bids and there's more people bidding against each other. So you're gonna get that little extra push at the end of an auction, as opposed to a $2,500 Kenny Pickett card that you spent $1,000 to get graded. Well, there's less people bidding on it. The people that are bidding on it aren't really Kenny Pickett collectors. They're people really looking for an underpriced card to buy and sell. So you just get less people bidding, which means you're gonna make a less % profit. So hopefully that makes sense. And for those reasons, in the beginning and really forever, it just really makes sense to stay in that lower end range. Lower risk, higher return, less stress, right? All these reasons, it just makes sense. Now, I'm talking about in the beginning of your sports card business, like buying cards, getting them graded, because that's what I recommend. Once you venture into buying cards already graded, and you know, some of these cards behind me, I bought already graded, and I'm just holding them, and while they're cheap, I'm gonna sell them for more money down the line in a few months. Then you want to be buying higher end cards because there's bigger % profits with that. But for this video and for all intensive purposes, I'm talking about just in the beginning stages. If you're just starting out, you're just starting to buy and sell sports cards. So hopefully that made sense, right? Long story short, just bigger profits and the cards are easier to find in that $100 range, okay? So hopefully this video helps you guys out just a little bit. And if you guys like this video, there's a bunch of other videos revolved around this stuff on my page. I just try to give you guys as much authentic stuff as I could possibly give, because I wish this stuff was told to me when I first started. That's kind of my premise for these videos. I say to myself, okay, what do I wish I knew when I started buying and selling sports cards in 2015? And that's how I get the ideas for these videos, just to help you guys out as much as possible. So any questions, feel free to comment below, DM me on Instagram. I'm always down to have a conversation and speak. Like, comment, subscribe if you like this video. I'll see you in the next one.